Will the Green Bay Packers have a top 10 defense in 2020? Maybe not, but they'll still win more games than the Bears. Grossi Packer Nation! Welcome to another episode of Packcast, a podcast where you don't have to be a Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom Daniel Grossi. That's just my real middle name. I know, it's kind of underwhelming. And last week, we pondered the question, will the Green Bay Packers have a top 10 offense? And so this time we go on the other side of the ball. Thursday, we'll go top 10 special teams. We won't, because no one cares. But today, we're going to talk about defense. Before we get to that, I want to do a big shout out and thank you to some brand new patrons over at patreon.com/TomGrossiComedy and some new YouTube members. First, we got TBK Music. Join that royalty tier and stay safe, you beautiful son of a gun. Thank you very much. We got Trevor XD, but it's like the laughing thing, so it's like Trevor, ha! And we got Tom's future mistress. Jay! Hopefully that was Aaron Rodgers. And a big shout out and thank you to some brand new YouTube members. We got somebody to shoot 34. That sounds violent. And we got Devin Lagasse. Thank you very much for your support. It is much appreciated. So, the Green Bay Packers coming into this year are hoping to have an improved defense from their already improved defense from last year. As Packer fans know, we have been in a recession when it comes to our defense for quite some time. Either we haven't had a balanced defense since like 2010 and then the 2014 season, or it's so frickin' frackin' lopsided, meaning our pass defense is solid and then our run defense is hot trash, or vice versa. And last year, we struggled in some departments. It was the run defense. That's where we struggled. And I think before we even get started, it's important to note that, in my opinion, this might be Mike Pettine's last year if he doesn't turn the ship around. So while there was improvement in the 2019 season, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that we brought in talent, right? With Adrian Amos, we brought in the Smith brothers, which definitely bolstered that defense. We got lots of pressures. You have the Smith brothers being the most dynamic pass rush duo in the league. Yeah, that's right. Suck it. But as the season went on, you know, the holes became a little bit more apparent, and the consistency on defense definitely wasn't there. See the NFC Championship game or the first game we played the 49ers. Taking a look at last year's stats, we were 18th in total yards allowed, 14th in passing yards allowed, 23rd in rushing yards allowed, and 9th in points allowed. So in the points department, this was great. Being in top 10, that's basically why we were able to be so competitive. We had many games where we just won by one score, so that was definitely useful. On top of that, what made us so successful was our turnover differential. We were plus 12 in turnover differential. A lot of that is credit to Aaron Rodgers. But on the defensive side of the ball, we were 3rd in interceptions with 17 and 7th in total turnovers with 25. And we were 15th in sacks with 41. So there are definitely improvements on that side of the ball. And when you look to this year and what we can expect, there is some room for optimism here. We lost Blake Martinez, but we replaced him with Christian Kirksey. If he could stay on the field, I think at the minimum, that's a wash. I think Kirksey might be a little bit of a better player, maybe not as much as a tackling machine, but I think he will be an overall better player. We drafted Kamal Martin, so hopefully, you know, the middle of the field is at least somewhat occupied. I don't want to say taken care of because that's a stretch. But looking at the run defense, a lot of that is going to depend on guys like Kingsley Keke. Obviously, you have Kenny Clark on the line, who is just a monster, and just pay him all the money. But you have guys like Montrevious Adams, Dean Lowry, who really haven't lived up either to their draft potential or to their extensions that they got. And you even got guys like Tyler Lancaster, who, again, haven't really lived up to much. Now, all that being said, with the run defense, I don't know if that's going to improve. I have hopes that it's going to, and it's honestly going to kind of fall on the shoulders of Keke and also Kingsley and Martin, who hopefully will contribute to stopping the run. But where I think we definitely can improve is in the pass rush. I think we can have a better passing defense. And on top of that, I think we're going to have more sacks this season, but that's going to be dependent on one guy, and that is Rashawn Gary. The number 12 pick overall from last year's draft. Didn't see the field a whole lot last year, but that's actually not a terrible thing considering he got to sit behind the Smith brothers. But I've said this a few times on this podcast. If Rashawn Gary is healthy and is that dynamic playmaker like they drafted him to be, that means that the Smith brothers can rest more and they can rotate out and they can be even more effective than they were last year. Because I have to think that offenses are now going to be scheming for the Smith brothers. So if you throw in Gary, who there's not a ton of tape on, who hasn't had a ton of experience from last season, and if he's able to excel, yeah, that's going to be a dangerous, dangerous pass rush. On top of that, looking at the secondary, Darnell Savage had a great rookie season coming into his second year. I think him and Amos are going to be some of the top safeties in the league. They could be a great tandem together. And then you have the cornerback problem. Kevin King was great down the stretch last year. Jair Alexander has been solid. Who knows what's going on with Josh Jackson, if Shannon Sullivan is going to be able to step up. Kevin King is also in a contract year, so this is a make or break year for him. Hopefully he can stay healthy to kind of show us what he has. I think we're also going to have a little bit more of a tougher schedule. We are going against some high-flying offenses like the Saints, the Buccaneers, or the 49ers. God, I don't want to play them again. So this is going to be a team that is tested, and I don't think there's going to be anybody who's going to say, oh, the Packers are fraudulent if they make the playoffs this year. So to put this all together and to answer this question, considering we were 14th in passing yards allowed this year, I think that we have potential to be top 10 in that. I think we could be top 10 again when it came to points allowed, and honestly, I'm just hoping for like top 20. Top 15 would be great for rushing yards allowed. And I think we can do that, but for me, that's the biggest question mark on this team. So overall, I do think that the Packers defense could be top 10 this year. It's going to be borderline, but I think they can do enough to get there. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Do you think we have the personnel to be a top 10? Do you think that Pettine needs to go? Let me know. You can always find me at TomGrossiComedy.com or at TomGrossiComedy on all social media. See down below. Check out podcasts on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, and of course YouTube. And a big shout out and thank you to all the patrons over at Patreon.com/TomGrossiComedy and the YouTube members. But thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack Go.